Hare Krishna. So we have covered P-A-R-E. P for protection from the glamour of Kali Yuga, A for association guard, R for respect is a culture, and E for expectations being realistic, and then now N. N stands for narrating stories. Parents should be expert in narrating stories. What to speak of children, even elders. As soon as we hear once upon a time, as soon as this phrase comes, this term comes, this phrase comes, once upon a time, the ears are raised, the head is raised, the consciousness is enlivened. Just by hearing this term, this phrase, once upon a time. So stories are loved by all. And stories, they make such an impact that all the scriptures are beautifully compiled by Ved Vyas Ji in the form of stories. So many stories. Especially we see Ramayana and Mahabharata. Why they are so famous? Because so many stories, and through stories such valuable lessons. Because it is a very graphical way of learning. If in a single shot, in a very raw form, a teaching is being given, that may not be absorbed by the child. But as soon as the child gets to hear about a beautiful story and with a wonderful lesson at the end, wow. Sometimes in summer camps I am being invited in some of the schools, and sometimes when we have summer camps in our temple, so I am being asked to narrate stories, and I just narrate the story, I do not tell the lesson. And I ask them that they should tell me the lesson to be derived from the story. And children come out with such wonderful lessons. Wow! I am astonished that I even did not plan this lesson for the story. But children have taken out this lesson as well from the story. That's really amazing. So stories, they make a lot of impact. Every parent should have at least 150 to 200 stories in their stock. And as they tell the story, for each of the value, it can be about honesty, it can be about gravity, it can be about being generous, it's about being charitable, it's about being empathetic. Different values are there, and with each of the value we should have some stories associated. And then when we narrate those stories, they make a lot of impact. Now of course there are many sources of stories, but the most impactful stories are coming from the Holy Scriptures. The pastimes of the Supreme Lord, the Leelas of the Lord, the Leelas of the devotees, the divine exchanges, their conversations, they are so very enriching. So we should tell them stories, especially when they are coming from the Holy Scriptures. Like earlier, when parents want that the brothers should have love for each other, they should not quarrel with each other. So then they would recite the example of Ram and Lakshman, or Ram and Bharat, that how they would have exchanges with each other. And as children would hear stories from Ramayana about how the four brothers have love for each other, Lakshman is selflessly sold out to Ramchandra, Bharat is completely devoted to Sri Ramchandra, and how Shatrugna is completely sold out to Bharat, and all the four brothers, they have got such wonderful, divine, sweet, selfless exchanges with each other. Hearing these exchanges, children naturally get this value that we should also love each other, we should also cooperate with each other. They make such an impact. So usually nowadays we see that parents are not able to give any kind of story, telling reason being they don't have any story in their stock. So first we should get stories in our stock, and then we should also connect the stories to a certain value, so that the right kind of story can be narrated in a right way to the child, and in this way a nice lesson can be taught to the child. So N stands for narrating stories. Very, very important. So now the next letter which we are going to cover is T. T means tolerance. So what does that mean to be tolerant? That we would cover in the next video. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.